Let me just introduce myself. My name is Chris Holden. I'm a former council member and mayor of the city of Pasadena. Recently, the assembly member just retired from California State Assembly. I've represented most of the San Gabriel Valley, including La Cañada Flintridge. So I feel like I'm always home when I'm back here and able to be a part of these kind of conversations, because this is another chapter in my life that gives me an opportunity to be in the public sector serving. And being able to know so many of you from many parts of my career, to be able to be here at this particular time to share with you what we are doing here at LA Fire Justice and why I'm here and why I believe this is an amazing organization of lawyers that have a history of representing communities much like those who were impacted by the Eaton Fire. And I know that this is a tough journey for many of you. And it's very important that not only you feel confident that you have the best counsel, but that you also have a group of people who understand the community, who are bringing resources that go beyond just the toward action. To maybe it's Monday, Mental Health Mondays, which we put forward because we understand that those are challenges that a lot of people are still having, and being able to create an environment and atmosphere to help disconnect from some of the stress and the trauma that you're having to deal with, and the tough decisions. Again, tonight we're hoping for those of you who have not made the decision, we'll hope you hear something, and during Q&A to ask questions and have those questions answered for you. I want to also just say that we have an incredible team, and the person I'm going to invite to come up to the microphone now is Rico Reyes.
The true lawyers in this case are to my left. We've got Mr. Mikal Watts. He is, how about a hand for Mr. Mikal Watts? I see most of you, I've seen most of you here before. How many are new faces? Anybody here for the first time? Can I see your show of hands? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A good handful. All right, well, I am speaking to everybody, but I'm paying special attention to you because I want you to have a good experience and to really feel what we're all about, and we're all about the client in the community. Mr. Watts is factually one of the very few humans on earth who has represented as many thousands as he has, and who has recovered billions for clients and for communities. That's a fact. In my opinion, he is the best in the world. Now, that's an opinion, and it is my own, but I hope many of you come to share it. The next attorney we have is Mr. Doug Boxer. Doug, can you raise your hand? There you go. Doug also has many years of experience trying wildfire cases in serving as our local California attorney. You may also remember the name, Mr. Boxer. His mama is Senator Barbara Boxer, former senator. How about a hand? Appreciate the hand right there. And we also have a new face in our midst, Miss Maribel Medina. This woman is an outstanding attorney, Berkeley undergraduate, Harvard for Kennedy School, back to Bolt for law school, speaks Spanish, is from the Pasadena area, really adds a lot of value to our clients, and I want her to come up and say a word or two. Very cute. We love dogs around here.
That is an adorable pug. Good evening. It's very nice to be here and join you all. I'm looking forward to being part of LA Fire Justice. Rico already stated why they're such a fabulous team. I want to just give out a few words to anyone who may be Spanish speaking here. Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Maribel Medina. Soy una abogada. Tengo como 30 años de abogada en California. Y me uní a este grupo de LA Fire Justice, un grupo de abogados increíble, porque ellos sí tienen la experiencia de asegurar que las compañías como Southern California Edison paguen por haber causado el incendio que ha causado tanto daño a las familias que estén aquí. Si tienen ustedes algún vecino, algún familiar, algún amigo o amiga que haya sufrido daños a causa del incendio, pero que todavía no tiene abogado, no sabe sus derechos, por favor, dígales que nos contacte para poder contestar cualquier pregunta que tengan, porque como dijo mi compañero, El plazo para poder iniciar un caso legal se termina en 11 meses, en un muy corto tiempo. Así que mucho gusto, espero poder conocer a más de ustedes. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this presentation tonight. I look forward to meeting more of you. I've had the pleasure of meeting a few of you already, so looking forward to a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Maribel. And on behalf of the crowd, I think I'm safe to say, well said. Okay. Can I have the next slide, please? How does that? Let me see. How can I do this? Space bar. Okay. Well, we've introduced most of the leadership in the past, but I want to give you a quick review. Many of you don't know, may not know, if you are new to this space, Falante Riddle. Many of you have been here and lived in Altadena and lived in the Pasadena area, know her from her extensive work within the community. Miss Falante Riddle. Miss Falante, are you? Thank you. There we go. A tireless advocate for the community. We're very lucky to have her, and you are very lucky to have her working on your behalf. Already introduced to the lawyer. Michael Bernard is our general counsel. He is not here today, but he handles a lot of the back-end contracts, a lot of the work we do with some of the other attorneys, and we're proud to have him. Nicole Lynch, can you raise your hand? She is with our marketing department. She works tirelessly to make sure that we have the AV and we have all of that you see in front of us today, and is really invaluable to us in our communications efforts. Jordi Gonzalez, he's a senior director of ground campaigns. He manages a lot of our field operation team, and he does so much work behind the scenes. An unsung hero in our book. Next, let's take a look. And we have our team of advocates. We talked about that. You already know Mr. Chris Holden. So let's see. Well, there we go. Dun dun dun. There we go. All right, and so here's our community outreach team. You're going to see them peppered throughout the audience. Anybody in a green shirt in the CO team, please raise your hands. All right, there we go. These folks are usually the face that you see first, because they are, among the things that are important to us, is not making you always come to us, although we appreciate it and we'll host you and treat you right while you are here. But we send them out into the community to go to where you are, because you are that important to us. I won't go through the names. That's a lot of folks to go through. And it's already been a long night, but we did want you to see the robustness of our team, because the truth is, we built this law firm for you. We built this for you, and we've signed a 5-year lease, so we're going to be here through the end, not only through the end of the statute of limitations, but through the case development and ultimately payment, assuming everything goes well as we expect that they will. What you see right here is our case management team, led by Leslie Smith. Again, I won't go through all of these lovely individuals. However, these are the folks after you've met with our community engagement specialists, and after you've signed the contract, and after we've had that initial interaction, you're going to develop a long-term relationship with people who are going to help you develop your case, help you understand how to go through your property list and your narrative for what you've been through, and any aspects that might be very particular to your case. All right, and so I'm going to ask Mr. Doug Boxer, Attorney Doug Boxer, to come back to the stage, and he's going to talk a little bit about our experience. Mr. Doug Boxer, everybody.
Thank you, Rico. First of all, we probably run out of Happy New Year's, but this is the first time I've seen many of you in the new year, so it's great to see you, other than those of you that came to Ashes and Echoes, which I hope, how many people came to that? It was an awesome, emotional, important exhibit. Many of you participated, so we thank you for that. I have one little piece of protocol to discuss. I think I walked around to everybody who is not currently one of our clients to explain that Michael, at the end of the presentation here, is going to speak to you a little bit about what we're learning through the discovery process in the litigation itself. That information is covered by a protective order. What that means, if you are not a client, you do not have a case with us, we can't have you listen to what Michael is going to say. So I would politely ask you that when we get to that portion, if you would just walk out, that would be great. I don't like doing that generally. It's actually the first time in 10 years of doing this that I've actually had to ask people not to be here for a portion of the presentation, but it is something Michael explained to me. None of us want to get in trouble with the judge. That would not be good for the lawyers, but particularly for you, right? So that's why you were given the green wristband, okay? I know actually a couple of you may have gotten this even though you're not clients, and so I would ask you just to use the honor system if you can. Okay, enough of that. And I know many of your clients before and many of you have seen all this, but it is important for the folks here who don't know us yet for us to talk about some of this stuff. So between, Michael, who I first met in 2017 when we worked on PG&E litigation in Northern California, has been doing this in a bunch of other states too. When utilities start wildfires, Michael Watts gets on the ground with his team. When it's in California, it's done with us. He's done it in New Mexico. He's done it in Texas, Oklahoma. He's done it in Oregon. We're together in Maui. But what you see on the screen there is mostly the California stuff except for Maui. My engagement with Michael covers about 20,000 people. And I just got to tell you, it's really, for me, probably the height of my career to work with my clients, particularly in a community where I can provide, I think, the legal know-how, but also I hope you know that I do care deeply and I try to connect with you one-on-one. That is hard to do when you have that many clients, but I find it really important to do, and it's something that I truly enjoy. And then at the end of the process, when Michael does the hard work and has to sit down with Edison's lawyers, hopefully all of this ends up being worth it for you, and hopefully we can get back to giving you the resources you need to rebuild not just your lives, but your community, and that's the goal of all this. Many of you have seen this. Many of you know the area where the fire started. Many of you hiked in that canyon. Many of you have seen those abandoned transmission lines that are up there in the canyon, right? The orange line there traces the transmission lines. Those are the big towers that connect to the grid in our interconnected electrical system, and then that power gets distributed to your homes by the smaller lines. I do want to talk one thing about this for 1 second. I have heard, and raise your hand if this is your circumstance, I've heard people who are getting notification from Edison that they're undergrounding distribution lines to your neighborhood, and they're telling you they're putting an X on your property, and they're saying, we're going to put a transmission box on your property, and when we bury the lines, we're going to charge you, and Michael, I meant to talk to you about this, anywhere from $25,000 to $55,000 to pay to connect to newly undergrounded lines. Anyone in here know that or have heard of that? Okay. I would love to get the notifications that you're getting. Michael, what I want to talk to you about is whether or not this is something that we seek reimbursement for. I want to be clear. I'm not opposed to undergrounding lines. I actually think it's really good for safety in your community. It's probably even good for your property values at the end of the day not to have those lines up there, right? But they burned down your house, and now they want you to pay for the safety stuff that they should be paying for themselves. So anyway, I wanted just to raise that issue. I've heard it a number of times. The area of origin, it's connected to two substations. You've seen the squat towers, the short towers next to the taller transmission towers. As you know, the squat tower had been taken out of service in 1971 and became re-energized. Much of the work that was done to determine how this fire started was done by this team, Michael Watts, and our team of experts. And we'll just show you. Michael, I've gotten to the point where we play this video, which is of you, so it's a little weird because you're here, but I'm going to play it anyway. And maybe you want to get up and you can talk about it afterwards. Is that okay? You good with that? Okay, good.
We took video from an Arco gas station provided by Jerry Singleton and used it to create a 3D model of Eaton Canyon through a process called photogrammetry. This technique takes videos and images from different angles and stitches them together to build an exact digital model that recreates the canyon's shape and details. In essence, a 3D map. That's a street lamp. and you can ignore that. At 6:11 p.m., there was a fault at one of Edison's substations, which can cause voltage surges miles away. Here you see the first flash or arcing at the top of the transmission tower number 3. During arcing, electricity jumps from one place to another, and the lines can dangerously flash and spark. When that happens, the metal on the steel towers can reach temperatures as high as 1,500 degrees, literally melting pieces of the towers. We then see a second flash, another arcing event, along the high voltage transmission line attached to tower number 3. Now, that 1,500 degree molten steel falls onto the dry brush and vegetation on the ground and catches fire. This paints a very clear picture of the start of the Eaton fire. We've also received very important videographic evidence taken by witnesses at the start of the fires. We've analyzed different videos and photos provided by Adrian Timuron, Pedro Riojas, and Jeffrey Q, and others. All these videos show a fire starting under tower number 3 and then progressing down the hill. So we've taken our 3D model and using photogrammetry, we've incorporated the witness photos and videos. Here you can see the position of the Timuron house relative to the transmission towers. We're able to see the beginning of the fire at the base of transmission tower number 3, progressing to the other 2 towers, and then down the hillsides towards Altadena. The Eaton fire is my 22nd wildfire case. I've represented over 21,000 fire survivors in 6 different states over the last 7 years. And this is the clearest evidence that I've ever seen that a utilities equipment was the start of a wildfire.
So, Michael, you did all this work incredibly fast, right? In the first 30 days, we did all this. I had a question from a client who said, man, you guys do great work. Why do you share all this with all the other lawyers? And I thought maybe you want to talk a little bit about the strategy and why it's helpful to our case.
Good evening. With respect to the video that you just watched, I guess I've got one thing to say. I couldn't have said it better myself. In all seriousness, thank you for coming. I was looking at my calendar. It's been too long since I've been here. I actually went to the Ukraine for 10 days in December. And I'm involved in a very interesting lawsuit that deals with American technology companies violating U.S. export controls and shipping guidance chips to Iran and China that end up in Vladimir Putin's munitions factories in Moscow that are then used to bomb our allies in Ukraine in civilian areas, which is a war crime. So that's why I wasn't here right before Christmas, and I'm sorry I missed it, but it is really good to be back. I've been here since 6 this morning and had 4 meetings, 3 of them on your case. And I want to describe what we're doing. First of all, you may or may not know this. I don't keep track of the weekly updates that I trust you're all getting. But there was a change in California law at the end of the year. And it's kind of a thing that's probably not going to apply to any of you. But the law says that right now, or at least as of December 31st, but they changed the law for cases filed as of January. Oh, okay. Sure. If in the course of your litigation you were to die, your lawsuit survives, but now California law says your right to mental anguish does not. It dies with you. So if you were our client before the end of the year, and most of you were, we filed all your lawsuits, okay? Because we wanted the old law to apply. When you represent 2,000 people, as we do, statistically, we're going to lose a very small number of you, and I don't want those of you all that go to a better place before we get done to lose that cause of action for mental anguish. So we just filed all the lawsuits, okay? So if you've been told that, great. If you haven't, I'm telling you now. Now, with that benefit of having the old law comes a responsibility. There are docket control orders that say within so many days of filing suit, you have to submit a completely filled out plaintiff profile form. 90 days or 60 days, okay? It is February the 6th. I don't even know what day it is. 5th? Trust me, I've been busy. I can't even keep track. But 60 days is the end of this month, okay? So if you haven't gotten in with us and gotten that plaintiff profile form, my first message to each of you is make an appointment immediately. I don't want your lawsuit thrown out because you didn't meet a court's deadline. We're going to win this lawsuit. The only way you lose it is you miss deadlines, you get kicked out, and they will kick you out if you miss deadlines, okay? So we're going to be on you like a cheap suit about making sure that gets done because the second part of it is the case is really going well, really going well. In a minute, I'm going to take those of you all that are already our clients through liability depots that we've taken. They're happening, depositions are happening, it seems like every day of the week. Primarily there are damages depositions being taken for people that are what's called preference cases or trying to get them in the front of the line. And we've taken about 12 depositions dealing with liability. And for those of you all that are our clients, I'll take you through the details of that. For those of you all that are not, I don't mean to kick you out, okay? If you'll raise your hand and say, okay, I want you to be my lawyer, they'll have you sign a paper real quick, but it's no hurry, okay? But the bottom line is this is covered under what's called a protective order. And I'm not allowed to talk to people who aren't my clients about it under court order. This could be a real problem. Let me give you an example. This same team and I worked on, you may remember a big train derailment up in East Palestine, Ohio, where the train derails and they released all sorts of noxious chemicals and everything like that. And we sued the train company and settled that case inside of about 14 months for, I don't remember what it was, $650 million, something like that. But the bottom line is that knocking people out, we still get a trial. And that makes it more likely that if you're one of the people who's not in the first 50, that your case is going to get settled too, okay? So that's what we're doing. Bottom line is that there came a time where we filed a lawsuit against the folks that messed up the mapping and the alarms, and one of my friends is here that was our lead plaintiff on that, and all of my colleagues got very upset. Oh my God, you're suing somebody other than the utility. How could you do that? I said, yeah, because this young lady's sister was killed because she never got a warning. So it was primarily only relating to the death cases, of which there were 19. But we were proud to do it, proud to represent you. And everybody, after they got done hollering at me for doing it, they kind of realized, hey, this guy's got a point. And it's a legit lawsuit, and there's no reason that people should have died. They should have had a warning. So that led to a bunch of consternation. They're going to slow down the trial because you sued, Genesis, and it was just nonsense because I already knew they were going to do what they did, and that is they're going to blame everybody. This is what we call pointing sideways, okay? My favorite cartoon ever is The Far Side, and one of my favorite ones is there's two bears standing right next to each other, and one of them has a scope, from somebody pointing at him, and he's pointing sideways at his brother. That's what they're doing here. They're pointing sideways to everybody not named Southern California Edison. They've literally sued everybody that could. So you want to talk for a little bit, and then I'll take it back over? Okay. One of the things that they're going to try to do other than pointing sideways is tell you, we'll give you crumbs instead of a full loaf, and here's your crumbs program.
Thank you, Michael. I'm really glad those of you who aren't our client got to hear from Michael. As I'm sure those of you who've heard him before know how lucky you are to have him as part of our team and representing you in this case. I will give you some grace because you have probably a couple more weeks than the end of the month because of the way the case has to be related. It's something, so you get a few more days to do your work. But the point remains, please, 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 when your case manager calls you or texts you, do not ignore the call. Michael's right. You will get your case tossed if we don't have the information, okay? And it's going to take a little bit of time. So just be patient with your case manager, okay? They're all great people. And if they have any questions, they call me and I give them help to get them through the process. Okay, let's talk real quickly about the comp program. How many of you have been contacted by Edison regarding the comp program? Anybody? Well, good. They're kind of following the rule. They're not supposed to talk to you because we give them the list of clients who are not supposed to talk to you. But Bottom line is, we know that Edison's CEO said it's probable that their equipment started the fire. They essentially admitted it. Mikal knows because he put together the case, right? They did it, okay? Yet their lawyers are telling the judge, hey, there's been no independent adjudication. No one's said that we're responsible yet. And oh, by the way, it's a really complicated case, and we don't know how much each case is worth. We don't know how much Stephen's case is worth. We don't know how much Vilma's case is worth because they're all different. And how would we ever know? Well, then lo and behold, they offer this compensation program where they actually do value your damages. So which one is it? Which one is it? Can they not do it or can they do it? The bottom line here, and Michael's right, they're offering you crumbs, but they want you to take this. We don't feel that what they're offering you is substantial enough for you to give up all your rights because they owe you this under California law, and it's your story. And this program sanitizes your story and what you went through. And I know that because you tell me. I know what you've been through. And you should have the opportunity to tell your story and not be offered pennies for it. Okay. In any case, that's it. It's a take it or leave it program. I can tell you that I've talked to a number of people who aren't represented yet who have come in to see if they want to have us represent them, and they've been applying to the program, and I haven't even talked to you about this, Mikal, but bottom line is you apply, and then they start sending you additional questions. Oh, you didn't give us proof of that, or you didn't give us proof of that. And every time they send you something, it restarts the 90-day clock. So don't believe this fast pay thing. It's taking people a lot more time, and it's a lot more confusing than what they've led it to believe. And I also don't think the profiles that they've sent out where they say a family of four is going to get $1.2 million, we'll see. We'll see. But I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. Perfect example, renters who lost personal property. I have clients who are renters of single-family homes that are 2,000 square feet. They're offering in the program $25,000 for their personal property. You guys probably have that in your living room. Actually, probably in your bathroom, quite frankly. And that's what they're offering. So it's just not right, it's not fair, and it's not going to be fast. The smoke and ash claims, if you're in their zone, most people won't qualify, but you get $5,000 and then you get a little pittance for emotional distress, even though you evacuated if you have smoke and ash, just like the people who lost their homes in full did. And many of you who had smoke and ash were displaced for like a really long time. And you're still concerned about your safety when you move back in, right? Because you're worried about what's in your soil and on your land. I won't go into that. Okay, really quickly here. This can be confusing. Some people don't understand that renters do qualify. If you rented a house, you lost everything in the house, you qualify. You lost personal property, right? You evacuated, whether you had insurance or you didn't. If you had a family member, a cousin, or a parent that was living with you and they lost their stuff, that parent or family member or friend qualifies. If you lost a business, if you own commercial property, like Skip here did, you lost your property, you got to rebuild it and your tenants. People who got hurt fleeing the fire, people who passed away, and anybody under the age of 18 who's a child, we file what's called a guardia ad litem. They have a case, and they get, children can't own property, right? But they have emotional distress. And the court recognizes that. Mikal, we work hard to get children money. It goes into a trust account. When they turn 18, they get the money. I don't need to go too much into this, but we have an office in 221 East Walnut where all of our people are located. There's probably 30-plus people there. Many of you have been there. We hope it's a safe space for you to come. We encourage you to come, get a snack, some water, come in, talk about your case. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to come in. We do this and we set this office up because we want it to be convenient for you. We don't want you to have to get your lawyer on the phone who's in Chicago or Miami or San Francisco. Okay, this is a place here, it's for you, as Rico said. We have a case management team, we talked about that, right? What we'll do is help you track everything you lost. Mikal, I was excited to hear the part about AI. I think that will alleviate a tremendous amount of stress that's put on clients. Personal property lists are tough to create, and so we know that, and we'll work with you hard to ensure that we accurately catalog everything you lost. And then we will hire experts, and we've done this in every fire we've done. Particularly, many of you have collectibles and stuff that's, some of it's irreplaceable, right? But a lot of it does have value. If you had a watch collection or a baseball card collection, we're going to have to hire an expert to evaluate what it was worth. We do that, we put that in your case file, and then we seek the replacement cost of what you lost. But, you know, tree loss is important. You have architect who will tell us how much it's going to cost to rebuild your home. All of that stuff is critically important to make sure you get the maximum that you're allowed to recover under the law. And then Chris Holden talked a little bit about this. You know, look, we're lawyers. Mikal and I, Rico, Maribel, we're lawyers. This is what we do. Is we try to get you justice for what you lost. But we also understand you are struggling through many other things at the same time that you're going through litigation. So whether it's your emotional well-being with Mental Health Mondays, or you may be having terrible problems with your insurance, getting your last 25%, because they wrote you a check for 75, and they're like, ha ha ha, you need the list if you want the other 25. Even though we insured you for that amount, we're still going to make you write it out, even though your house is ash. So we're launching a program right now. You'll see some advertising for it. It's our insurance specialist, Harold DeLuise. He's a fantastic gentleman, used to work for State Farm. You can come in one-on-one, bring your insurance policy, and we will help work up your personal property loss to help you get that list so you can capture that other 25%. Right? And you want it to come from your insurance company because we don't collect an attorney fee on that dollar. That dollar is yours. You paid for that. So we have multiple ways to try to assist you through this process if we best can. How you get started with us, most of you have signed a contract. Our fee is 25%, which is where most of the law firms are. And there's a chance that through the fire litigation, a portion of your legal fees that you're owed may be paid for by the defendant. Can't promise that yet because we're still early in the process. But in other torts and other fires, we've had the defense pay for a portion of the attorney's fees, so you don't have to pay for that. All right. I tried to get through that quick because Michael's going to do his thing. Does anyone have any questions about, because Mikal gave you some new info and a lot of the other stuff you may have heard before. Yes, sir. So the plaintiff fact sheet, yes, it's for anyone who signed up before the first of the year. We filed your case at the end of December, and you have, as Mikal said, court-ordered mandate dates that we have to provide this information. And when you get a call from your case manager, she's going to walk you through exactly what you need to provide.
And the plan is if you signed up since December, we're going to file them quarterly just to get everybody through the chute. What my goal is we're going to have maximum pressure on these guys right before trial. And I'd like to have all your damages work done so that we're not waiting around. So those of you all that are first in line getting your work done aren't waiting on the people that wait in the back. So we're gonna front load the damages work here. Some of you have heard me talk about we just finished filing claims for a couple thousand people out in Maui. We finished in December, and now we're all that same personnel and expertise is here to work on your stuff. And we're going to do it on a front-loaded basis, okay? Because it'll get you paid faster, okay? Couple other things. This program, I'm not here to badmouth these people that are doing it, but I've seen it before. It's kind of the old trick. I've seen it a lot. The gentleman who designed this program did it for BP. And they try to go around the lawyers telling you, you're going to save all this money without any lawyers. And then they offered you nickels. It's kind of offending your sensibilities if you really know what your cases are worth. But, you know, I don't think, unlike some other people, that we're going to sit around. We're doing the work as we go. That's why we've got 30-some-odd people here. Let's get it done, okay? It's not a free lunch. You're not getting paid until you do the work. We're doing the work. We need to do it together, so let's get to work, okay? Tried to leave you alone over the holidays while I was getting shot at in Ukraine. But I'm back and more torn and ready to, let's do this, okay? All right. Now, I'm going to talk about 3 depositions because they're not, hold on. I'm going to talk about 3 depositions because I'm not worried that they're privileged. But the bottom line is that we are on a steady march towards obtaining all the discovery that we need to prove what I'm calling lapses. I mean, it's just criminal what they did. You know, what happened inside of Southern California Edison that led to this, it was not an accident, okay? It was a choice. They left those lines up when they should have taken them down because of a quirk in the law that changed abandoned to idled. But even if you get to keep them up because you call them idled, even though you abandoned them 38 years ago, you still have to inspect, maintain, mow the grass around it. But ultimately, the reason we're taking these depositions to prove up what I proved up last January is to show that they knew, okay, that this wasn't strange. And the documents we've got, the depositions we're taking, show they absolutely knew this was a hazard, okay? They absolutely knew how to prevent it, and they didn't do a thing. The way this process works is we do what's called a request for production of documents. That's a lawyer phrase. You give me all your file cabinets that deal with this stuff. Millions of pages have been exchanged, read, synthesized, organized, so that then we go into the process of taking depositions. There are two kinds of liability depositions that have been taken. I'm going to talk about the first one, and then I'm going to excuse those of you all that have to. We took 3 depositions of people that are our clients, so I feel free that we can talk about that. Some of you have met my friend Jeffrey Koo. Jeffrey, or his wife, or his ring video, or something in the front yard, you know, we're seeing it. It's just great. You guys have seen him and met him, and so it's not enough that I've got a videotape that my client gave to me. You have to like put him under oath and get him to do what's called authenticate the video. I took this video the night of the fire. It was my video. It fairly and accurately represents what happened out there. And so we took his deposition. And the bottom line is he lives just off of Altadena Drive. He had an unobstructed view of the area where the Eaton fire ignited from his front yard. And the security camera mounted on the side of his house shows us a lot about where this happened. So we had the ring phone, the cell phone, and it showed a lot about the initial footage. He hadn't been asleep the night before because of the noise that was from extremely high, volatile winds. He was sitting in his house with no electricity when his wife arrived home, told him to come out of the front yard. That's where they observed the very initial moments of the ignition of the fire, and the videos that a lot of you all have seen show the fire in its infancy immediately under the vicinity where we said it was, under Tower 208. And so, you know, he gave a good deposition. He produced that video to us. I've shown it to you 50 times, and now it's part of the official court record, and it's admissible, and that's why we do it. The second deposition, Adrian Timuron, you heard, well, I should have, there we go. This is the young lady that took the video that we took the LiDAR and moved it around to line it up with her camera. And so what we're doing is we're, in effect, triangulating the different videos, and we've done it with respect to her as well. She was there from a completely different perspective, about 75 degrees away from Mr. Koo. And same thing. I was home, the power was off, it was getting dark outside. I noticed an orange glow, and she starts filming. She sees this orange light and sees the fire in its infancy, and that's the way we did that kind of cool thing where we rotated the camera and the like. And it also starts just under Tower 208. And so she's authenticated her video. The third video is her husband, not her husband, I'm sorry, Arthur Arutian, and he's the owner of the Arco station. That Arco video is pretty important because it's just looking right at where it happened. And so this allowed us in 3 different ways, and I've got another 8 to, in effect, prove what we knew. And so the Arco station owner has authenticated the security camera video. And, you know, we could really stop there. We'll probably depose the rest of them, but that's about it, okay? And so the bottom line is, and I won't show these again because it feels like, you know, I'm doing it over and over again. I don't want to bore you with the old stuff. We'll get to the new stuff. But the bottom line is that he gave this video to his lawyer, my buddy Jerry Singleton, who gave it to me because he knew what we were doing. We slipped it into the LiDAR thing right before the press conference on January the 27th, and I thought it was pretty dispositive, okay? All right.